Raanan is fat and he's a Jew. He'll tell you something that you already knew. Your favorite movie sucks. Your favorite movie sucks. American Beauty or Forrest Gump. Your favorite movie sucks.
We are back with another episode of Your Favorite Movie Sucks. We have someone who, a very hilarious comic who I barely know, but he's my neighbor.
Yep, across the hall.
Yeah, across the hall, Derrick Stroup.
Thanks for having me, buddy.
Of course.
Glad to be here.
Well, I always wanted, I'm glad you took the trek all the way down, basically just across the hall from me, down the stairs.
Nice.
I always want to hang out, but we're always like busy, two ships in the storm or the night or whatever the phrases.
Like two ships in the night. We are always going somewhere. If I'm at home, you're gone. If you're gone, I'm at home. It's endless.
So now this is really going to be our longest conversation.
It is going to be.
It's going to be just me shitting on your favorite movie.
I'm actually excited. This is the best way to get into it. I'm excited for it.
Yeah, well, all right, yeah.
All right.
So we'll just jump in. Your favorite movie is a movie that I will say like years ago, maybe the impetus for the show is I wrote a list of the most overrated movies of all time.
Yeah.
And Forrest Gump was number one.
Perfect. I mean, wow. Right into the lion's den.
But so we're going to go through the movie.
Yeah.
But I will say, and just to make it just to be honest about it, watching it now, it does move me a little.
Yeah.
But I think it moves me the way a Hallmark commercial moves you. Where you're like, why am I crying? Why am I moved by this? Mm-hmm. But I just want to say, I don't think me being like a little moved at the end is a testament to its strength.
Yeah.
The movie. It's the same way if I'm moved by a Hallmark commercial, I can't be like, well, I guess this Hallmark commercial is great art. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I know. And it pulled at the strings in the right parts.
It pulls a lot.
Yeah, it does. But I mean, for me, at the core of the movie, it's about a good guy and a mother's love.
Yes.
So that's where a lot of the strings being pulled for me. He's very much a mama's boy.
Yes.
And she's the one that kind of gives him the courage to go take on the world and do all these things. But if we're hopping right into it, Forrest has some very good luck and some very bad luck.
Yes.
Some incredible fortune.
Yes.
Goes his way, and then he also loses a lot of people that he loves.
Yeah. I was watching it thinking like, he doesn't really ever, by the time he finally gets her.
Yeah.
She's dying of AIDS.
Yeah. So here's immediately here's something I want you to think about. I brought this up to my wife. The movie ends with Forrest being 38 years old.
Yeah.
Think about that. The movie is it's a 2 hour and 22-minute movie. Uh-huh. In 38 years, the man lived a 100-year life.
Yeah.
He went to war. He played ping pong for our nation.
Yeah.
He invested in Apple.
Yeah.
He had a child. He found love. He lost love. When the movie ends, he's 38. I don't think the people. That is mind blowing to me. That
it's not real, right?
Okay. I do.
Do you understand the achievements this man has made?
But from a movie standpoint, there's so much more life. Like they fade out, and you go, oh well, he's just going to be old and die.
Yeah, you're right though. Yeah,
there's so much more especially for a guy like Forrest in 38 years. Who knows what he did in the next 30 or 40, which is what I know it's not real, but that's immediately think about 38 years and what he got done. That is mind blowing.
Talking about it like you're talking about him like he's like FDR. So you're like the things that man did. You can't denigrate the things the screenwriter wrote for him to do in the movie.
Can I also tell you that from an Alabama education standpoint, I learned a lot of history from this movie.
No, I did too. I think we all did. How old are you?
I'm 40.
I'm 41. This was like like a quick America education.
It really, and how it did it was funny, and there was like some fun ways. Like one of my favorite scenes is the Watergate, when he's like talking to Nixon, and he's like, "You staying in a hotel?" He's like, "I can get you a better, more modern." And then he ends up calling the police, going, "There's some people with flashlights going." What a fun way to just put that in the movie. And everything that happens to Forrest, he's innocent.
Yes.
He has no idea. He walks up to the civil rights movement. They make the line about the guy makes the derogatory coon comment, and he brings up raccoons.
Yeah.
Mama
funny.
on the back porch.
Yeah.
It's all lost on him because of how big of a heart. He doesn't see things through the lens of, I mean, when it comes to just characters in movies, I can't think of somebody who's much of a better person than Forrest Gump. I mean, just a better person.
Right. And now this is where, like, when I talk shit about a favorite movie, it can get personal, because I feel like right away you're like, it felt personal. You're like, I am Forrest Gump. My mother's love brought me here, and now it feels like I'm like shitting on you. It's like this is what happens. Like are you questioning my mother's love?
That's a real smart psychologist angle.
That was your first angle.
Yeah,
and then your second angle was like, the achievements he did in a short amount.
Yeah.
Okay.
I stand by that.
Let's begin first. Where were you when you saw the movie? How did it affect you right away? That kind of stuff.
I was definitely a kid. I would say 12 or 13 years old. And I would say I just loved the movie from a young standpoint because it kept moving.
Yeah.
It's just...
it's very entertaining. I'll say that right off the bat.
Yeah.
It's extremely entertaining.
I don't think I knew exactly what I was watching as a kid, but the character, you can resonate with him. I mean, Tom Hanks had turned into... He's Forrest to me.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll see him places now, and I'm like, look at Forrest acting in another movie.
Yeah.
I mean, he sold it. So
not only is he a great ping pong player, he's an incredible actor. He can lose the.
Yeah, exactly. All those things. So I mean,
that'd be incredible for a mentally handicapped, like a gay guy can lose being gay for a role.
Yeah.
Someone could lose the mentally handicapped vibe for a role, like it's just seems normal for a role. You're like, that's a good actor.
That would
you
be.
You should just do that all the time.
Unbelievable. Yeah. No, I mean, because he went. When I was rewatching it the other night, I just his reactions and everything. I mean, he really he sold the character. But I was a youngster when I watched it. I can remember the scene where the principal sleeps with the mother.
Yes.
For the other, that rattled me at a young age.
I
knew exactly what was going on, and I just thought it was so wild. I'd never thought that a mother could sleep with the principal to help with school. There were some dots connected.
It's funny though. Now that I'm older, I'm watching. I'm like, she's a real whore. I mean, that's crazy.
that is wild. If you're not pro Forrest, I thought when I watched it, I went, "What a mother!" I
used to think that. Now I'm like, if I knew a mother who did that, I'd be like, that's a little crazy.
Yeah, that is.
The funniest part of that scene, to me, is that the actor, I believe it's Austin Pendleton, when he leaves after fucking her, and he's the only one making sound, which is never good if you're the only one making sound.
Yeah.
He walks by Forrest and he goes, "Ooh, your mom sure cares about your education." And then Forrest doesn't say anything, and he goes, "You're pretty quiet, aren't you?" And it's like, what is he supposed to say to him being like, your mom sure loves to suck dick for your schooling? Like, you're supposed to give him a high five? And then the fact that he's shocked that Forrest Gump doesn't respond to him being like, your mom knows how to fuck is wild.
Yeah, and it also shows you how far we were from knowing about any type of learning disability.
Right.
He still knows that this kid's scores are low, but doesn't understand why he won't communicate. But Forrest's response to that was unbelievable. Making fun of his noise that he was just making showed that Forrest had, that's a little kind of quick on his feet to make that his response.
Well, is it saying in that moment that he kind of knows exactly what's happening?
Yeah, I don't know if it's as deep as that or as much as Forrest was saying, I heard, but you might be right.
No, I don't know. I mean, there are a lot of scenes where the narration kind of tells you exactly what's happening, which I tend to not like, because there are some scenes in the movie that I find really moving. And I've said this before on the podcast, narration can really hurt a scene by just telling the audience exactly how to feel. There's a scene where Gary Sinise, after the storm, which is a great scene, and he's in the water, and Forrest Gump's like, I realized in that moment he found, I'm doing it terrible.
No, but yeah.
I realized in that moment wait, hold on, I can do it. Jenny? No, I was doing it so well, but I was watching. Laughs a lot. Anyway, he says, I believe he made peace with God in that moment.
Yeah.
That scene would have been resonated more if you didn't have the narration telling you exactly what's happening. The movie does that quite a bit where it doesn't let, it lets the narration tell you exactly. Because it is an obvious movie, I think.
Yeah,
at times,
I agree.
A mainstream movie.
Absolutely.
But let's start from the beginning of the movie. Because I do think like... I mean, there are movie things in this movie. There are things I like in this movie, and there are things I don't understand. I will say at the core, the thing I don't understand is what it's really about. Because to me, if you were to say, like, what's it about? It's kind of about a retarded person being really lucky.
Yeah.
And it's kind of contradictory because it's kind of saying, like, look, mentally handicapped people... they deserve to be celebrated. Some of them have superpowers.
Yeah.
Like, well, then maybe pick a mentally handicapped person. It's like, did you see the Daredevil show?
Yes.
It's like he's blind, but he can do things that people psych. So it defeats the whole thing.
Yeah, him being able to run at the speed of light.
Yeah, it's like
changes,
he's a superpower. He's a superhero.
Changes things.
It's like, look, mentally handicapped. Like, if you have to show that mentally handicapped people can do anything, then just giving them superpowers, it's not really. It's a bit. I hate to be a woke cuck here.
Yeah.
But it's a bit offensive. On its core,
No, I see. He didn't live just a regular. He wasn't a regular guy.
Yeah.
I mean, at all. I mean, him being able to run fast led to being at Alabama. Led to so many other. Then he was a freak ping pong player.
Yeah.
I mean, world class, not average.
Yeah.
I mean, he was playing for.
And he's not autistic, which is usually where the superpowers come in.
No, but it is interesting that they just kind of made him. They didn't really try to highlight what his disability was exactly, or he just seems slow.
He's just slow
in general.
I've met a couple because most there's Down syndrome.
Yeah.
Right. And then I've always the thing with movies with mentally handicapped people, it's kind of interesting and complicated because Down syndrome is a lot of mentally handicapped people.
Yeah.
But back before Down syndrome people played it in movies, other people would play it.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't even know if they have Down syndrome because it's so you're like, is Leonardo DiCaprio playing a Down syndrome person?
100%.
We don't know.
Yes.
But with this, he's just slow.
He's clearly slow, and it's interesting. They kind of make a jab in the army scene where they talk about how so now we know how slow he is. He joins the army. He's the best soldier they've ever seen. Why? Because I just do exactly what you tell me.
Right.
I thought it was just so interesting how they highlighted that anybody that thought for themselves or had any thinking is the way the movie portrayed it. Why did you do this? Why did you told me to do this, sir? My God, Gump, you're the smartest man I've ever met.
And so what's the point of that?
I don't know.
In 1 minute, he's stupid enough to not be racist. In the other moment, he's so stupid he can follow orders and be a killing machine.
Exactly. That I'm kind of going with your point. It doesn't really.
What is the movie about?
There are some good lessons that are learned in here because of his simplicity and the way he looks at things. He never looks at things through racism is one of them, but he's never objective. He always just sees things for what they are, kind of the goodness of what they are. Nothing anymore. He's not adding anything to anybody. Like Jenny.
He's apolitical.
For sure.
He's
with Jenny, he couldn't find any faults. I mean, he loved her so much, but. I don't think that if you watch Forrest Gump, you go, well, here's the point of this movie. It's all over the place.
It's all over the place because it's mentally handicapped. It's contradictory. It's mentally handicapped people can do whatever anyone else can as long as they have superpowers and are really lucky. Mentally handicapped people don't have racism, but they also are following orders.
Yeah.
And then there's a weird, I don't know, not to say that the creators are conservative or even the movie, but there's some moments that feel weirdly conservative. Jenny's whole story seems like a PSA by Republicans.
I mean, for sure.
Like, it just reduces the whole counterculture
yes.
to just drugs. Like, it's basically saying, don't be a hippie or you'll get AIDS.
Yeah, I mean, it showed the worst part of the 60s and 70s.
Yeah.
I mean, they were all strung out doing coke. She was with guys that abused her. They were at a political party marching for peace. Her boyfriend was abusive.
Yeah.
I mean, there was no good side of it.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like if the movie came out today, like liberals or like the leftist people would be so outraged.
Absolutely.
By the movie. But at the time, we were living in a more politically stable time, neutral time, and there is this kind of like, I don't know if it's conservative, but there is this like, no, don't go be a hippie. Live with me. Let's have a family on this farm. Let's have like a stable life.
Yeah, for sure.
But now people be like, that's how you characterize the Black Panthers? You know? Like, it's like, you know.
Yeah, and you know, Forrest, now that you say this, it does have a very conservative angle. I mean, not very, but it is. I mean, Forrest is not drinking. He doesn't partake. He doesn't party. He doesn't do anything. God is mentioned several times, praying, that sort of thing. Mama went to heaven. So, yeah, and it might have been just they were really coming from a Southern, if this is going to be a Southern movie, then we're going to have this religious lining. But yeah, now that you mention that, that makes a lot of sense because it wasn't making the fight against the war look good. It was making it look chaotic, a problem.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's also funny that she named him Forrest from a Civil War Confederate general.
Yeah.
And the idea was to be reminded how people can be like do really bad things.
Yeah.
But you're still having the name, like you still have to tell people I got named after a KKK guy.
Absolutely.
It's like if someone was named Hitler and then have to be like, but they named me to remind me how bad
that's insane. The only thing that I took away from that's good is they were immediately in the movie. That's like one of the first things they do.
Yeah.
They were showing his innocence. Because he describes it as if not even they'd put on sheets and rode around on horses like ghosts.
Yeah.
They're showing that Forrest does not understand. He's not nothing that he's doing is going to be malicious or intentional. He just doesn't think that way, and I think that sets a tone for the whole. Immediately, he acts like he doesn't really. He just kind of repeats what his mother said.
Right, he repeats what his mother said. I mean, like he has love, and he does want to make connections with people, so he is inherently good. But he doesn't have. Yeah, it's almost like maybe you could say the movie's trying to show the behind our political crazy ideology.
Yeah,
it's just kind of like, just like he has this primal apolitical love. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That goes beyond the ideological maelstrom of like you know differences. But it is. I mean, it is interesting. He does like. You know, and I don't mind that idea. I mean, well, let's start from the beginning. So how does it open? It opens with, because my fans are always yelling. They're like, I always say, let's go through the movie, and then I never do.
Okay, let's fucking do it. Let's do it.
So it begins with the feather.
Yep.
Floating around.
He's on the bench.
He's on the bench.
She's talking to the young lady about her shoes.
Yes.
It's a young black lady.
Yeah.
She's disinterested.
Which is, I forgot most of the movie is him telling a story to someone on a bench and then a lot of them not wanting to hear it.
Yeah, by the end they're pretty.
By then they're into it.
Yeah, but you're right. In the beginning, he's weirding everybody out.
Yeah, and there's actually times where like one woman tries to bring up something from her life. And
yeah.
Well, that reminds me of this, and she doesn't even get a word in.
No.
I forgot like half this movie is someone telling a story that the people don't want to hear.
I mean, just sitting down on the bench. Only the older guy at the end starts to lock in because it gets a little off the rails.
Right.
I mean, he's invested in Apple. He got shot in the butt. But anyways, so he's sitting on the bench, and I mean, he talks to the young black lady, the nurse, and he's like, that's where it starts with the shoes. Mama said that you could tell a lot about somebody by their shoes, where they've been, where they're going.
Right.
Yeah. And then right on course, she goes, my feet hurt. You know, and then he kind of he dismisses it. Your input
kind of
doesn't matter.
Bit of a narcissistic monster.
I mean, it does not. Yeah. Well, if you didn't know that he was mentally challenged, for sure. But then he just goes right into the beginning of his story, which is his legs.
Which is an interesting thing that I guess they don't explore. Which is that I mean, there is this idea in it that somehow intelligence is bad and like you're more loving, but empathy is also connected to intelligence.
Absolutely.
And like he actually doesn't have the ability to be like, oh, did you want to say a word?
No, he does not at all.
But they don't really explore that. It would be interesting if they explored that in the movie more.
No, I mean he got physical with 3 different people in the movie because he doesn't know how to communicate.
Right. And So then you got him with the whole fucking the legs with the braces.
The braces.
But I will say at this point my girlfriend was just sobbing.
Yeah.
Oh no, the seat thing, the next thing.
Oh yeah, that's right. She
was not that. She was sobbing when when everyone's like seat taken.
Yeah.
She was like sobbing.
Yeah.
I look like such an asshole. I'm like, can you believe this sappy bullshit? She's
Can't sit here. Yeah.
By the way, rewatching, a lot of those kids who said seat taken, it was 2 of them already in the seat.
Yeah.
There was no room.
There was only one kid, the redheaded kid, that can't sit here, that came down from Boston.
Did you?
Yeah, such a random accent.
Did you notice that?
I did.
They're saying seat taken, but the seat is taken.
Yeah, and they're acting like it's a profound, mean statement. I saw the same exact thing. I do love how when he gets on the bus, it's like he meets Dorothy Harris, who's
right,
and it's such a Forrest introduction where he won't get on because we're strangers, and then he introduces himself. We're not strangers anymore.
Which just shows that he could easily get kidnapped.
Yeah, and how literal.
How literal.
How literal he is. And it goes right into his childhood.
But I will say, what I remember, this is like the thing you remember incorrectly, Shazam. Whatever the fuck.
Oh, that's true.
Michael Jordan as Aladdin or whatever the fuck. I don't know.
Shaquille O'Neal as Aladdin.
I was joking about that. I feel like people are going to comment and be
they
like,
will.
how the fuck you can't tell fucking black people apart. But so it is funny. I like those seats really were taken. There's only one kid who's kind of being a dick. The other kids, even though they're speaking an angry tone, are actually just explaining to someone who's too stupid to see what's in front of him. He could have just been like, seats taken.
Yeah. True. And Forrest has a little bit of a look on his face, like it looks like I'm going to have to tell this guy, you can't sit here.
Right.
Seats taken, my man.
Yeah.
You know?
And then, but it works out because he ends up sitting next to,
to Jenny.
So if it kind of is supporting being mean to a mentally handicapped person because it allows them to
funnel him right to a young lady. I'm sure it works like that on the subway.
Yeah, of course.
Same thing. Everybody doesn't allow you to sit next to him, and then you find the love of your life.
Exactly.
It's a tale as old as time.
Love. Yeah. By the way, I will say this movie is one of the most iconic movies of all time. I was just thinking, it's so iconic that like. Maybe that's true for other iconic movies, but it's one of the few iconic movies where like everyone's name is famous.
Oh, yeah.
Lieutenant Dan, Bubba, Forrest, Jenny.
There's a restaurant that came from this movie.
Bubba Gum Shrimp, yeah.
It's not a great one, but it is everywhere.
Would you believe that with all the amount they put into that the shrimp isn't that good?
Yeah, you would think. You would think.
But Todd Barry had a really funny joke about going there and like someone asking him, like the waiter being like, you want to hear a Forrest Gump trivia? And he's like, no. And he's like, though I guess I'm kind of the asshole there being like, what do you think? You think I went to this Bubba Gum Shrimp restaurant to hear Forrest Gump trivia?
Are you kidding me?
But so they start having they start having this platonic. He gets retarded best friend zone pretty quickly.
Oh yeah, they find each other immediately.
And I forgot she's actually getting molested by her father. I actually forgot.
Yeah. Now I was gonna highlight that Jenny's kind of wild run. They were trying to highlight her background.
Yeah,
what may have propelled her into a place of trying to find love all the time because she was clearly trying to find love,
but just abusive like her father going
exactly. Yeah.
But the father was physically abusive and sexually abusive.
Yes, because Forrest makes the comment that he was real touchy. He loved to hug her.
Yeah, that part's actually really funny.
Yeah.
Like he loved her so much. He was all touchy and he'd put his finger in her vagina. He was just such a good father.
Yeah, there's Forrest not really knowing,
But it's interesting, he physically and sexually. I thought parents picked one or the other.
Yeah, that's a real nightmare of a guy. I mean, really.
Right?
Like, pick one.
Pick one.
Man.
You can't fuck and hit.
Yeah.
I mean, and if you're fucking them, don't you want them to like look pretty good?
Yeah, man. Aren't you, I mean, that's
one of the worst things I've ever said. But
my goodness gracious, what a nightmare.
You're like, I should not be doing this podcast.
No, I'm having fun.
Comedian.
I mean, I didn't think about that he was a both sides guy, which
yeah,
crazy.
Well, there's good on both sides, you know.
Yeah.
And but so she's getting molested, and it just shows you really how like the way you're raised plays a way bigger part than whether you're even mentally handicapped or not.
Oh,
he was raised great.
Yeah.
And she was raised badly.
And a tough, and she was out there constantly looking for something. I'm somebody who ends up, getting upset with Jenny. I don't have much compassion for Jenny. Yeah, my wife had a different angle on it. She felt really bad for Jenny and thought that Jenny was kind of a product of a horrific childhood.
You didn't think so?
I mean, I thought that she was, but I also thought that she had punished Forrest enough that she knew what she was doing.
Yeah,
like the way that she treated him bothered me a lot. But I mean, I'm kind of torn on that too, because it's like, maybe she didn't want to be with a guy, that was slower, and she struggled with that. But
yeah, but I will say, especially why. I mean, I kind of see what you're saying, because rewatching this again, I'm kind of like, man, she really just kind of comes back at the end when she has AIDS.
Once she has AIDS, she goes, look,
she's like, now let's get married.
Yeah, and she didn't mention the kid.
Yeah, she didn't mention the kid.
Shows up with AIDS, with the kid. She goes, he's yours. I've got 11 months. That's insane, man. That's a horrific send-off.
I know I've been rejecting you your entire life.
I mean,
just rejecting you, rejecting you.
It's tough.
But now let's get together.
Yeah,
I'm about to die. You have to take care of this kid.
You gotta take this.
It really is kind of manipulative,
because you're gonna tell me that she tells him if she doesn't tell him about the kid ever.
Yeah.
If she's not dying.
Yeah.
She goes and lives her life because, all right, here's the other side of it. She also might not feel like she's worthy enough to be with, he's a special thing to her.
Yeah.
And a great person. This happens in real life. And you go, I'm not muddying your water. Like, you don't know this. But we're not combining worlds, because you would be better without me.
Right. No, I mean, I think they're going for that, but I guess she thinks once she has AIDS, it kind of evens the playing field.
Yeah.
AIDS, mentally handicapped.
Yeah, she's like, we're 1-1.
But you are making a great point. I mean, imagine this girl you're in love with, and she just keeps rejecting you, going after shitty man after shitty man. Finally, once you're old and kind of lonely and heartbroken, she's like, I want to come back.
Yeah.
I want to get married. A couple things. I have a kid.
Yep.
That I never told you about, and you can never have sex with me because I have AIDS.
Crazy.
And you're about to be a single father. I mean, would fucking chuck her out.
I mean, so at the end, it's a whirlwind. She dies, mom dies, 7-year-old.
Yeah.
And then we pan out. He's on on a snapper lawnmower. I mean, so it's kind of beautiful. He had a kid. It's kind of devastating. It's not the ending. It's not beautiful to me. It's a little sad.
It's 100%. Yeah. I mean, it's bittersweet, right?
Yeah.
It's the definition of bittersweet. You don't get what you want, but you get something else that's kind of nice, but also sad.
You know what? And like you said, your folks are probably gonna. We've skipped to the very end of the movie.
Yeah.
There's definitely like
we'll
I think
the
war part is definitely fascinating to me.
Right, and I do want to bring up something Joe List brought up, which is a great point. I mean, it kind of makes sense, but the mother is a great mother, but she did choose to let her mentally handicapped son go to Vietnam when she could have easily probably got him not to go.
Yeah.
But she does want him to be treated like everyone else.
She does.
But it is Vietnam.
It is
and
Vietnam.
He is mentally handicapped.
And everybody knew that people were coming home in pine boxes.
Yeah.
That's not something I thought about. She could have easily.
That's a great point, yeah.
I mean, easily. If you had any broken foot, if you had, a heart murmur, anything could have got you outside, and he went over.
And yeah, exactly. If like web feet take you out, I think, brain that didn't get enough oxygen, I think that should take you out of the thing, even though he's actually great at being a soldier. I mean, that's an interesting thing about her that actually could have been interesting, but the problem is everyone has a halo in this fucking movie.
Yeah.
Everyone is either good or evil, but like, it would have been interesting if they, instead of glossing that over, they would have shown how she's so adamant about him being treated like everyone else that she lets him go to Vietnam. That's actually kind of an interesting, complicated thing that gives you mixed feelings.
Yeah.
But obviously this movie is,
Yeah.
This movie is if a pillow with a inspirational phrase on it was a movie,
Yeah. I mean, and you just showed me, there's some parts I take too serious and literal, and it's like, this guy starts a shrimping company that makes him a millionaire.
Yeah.
And then he said he invested in a fruit company and it was Apple. It's silly.
Oh,
it's not.
but it's very
it's
silly.
not all going to make perfect sense.
No, it's very silly. Some of the jokes, there's a couple of jokes that are very funny. There's a lot of bad jokes.
Yeah.
The Imagine thing is really stupid.
Yeah.
The thing from Midnight Cowboy was like, I'm walking here. It's really stupid.
Almost gets hit by the cab.
It's just kind of like those kind of reminders, but there are a couple of really funny moments. Probably the funniest moment, it's a pretty great gag, is when he meets with her and they go to the dorm room. I forget that he comes immediately. I completely forgot about that part.
Yeah.
He gets her. She brings his hand to her tits.
Yeah.
He comes.
Yeah.
It's really awkward, and then at the end it just booms down to the woman.
The roommate's just laying really there. Funny. That was great.
Terrified.
Because you had no idea anybody else was in the room.
That was a really funny gag.
Yeah.
The raccoon thing is kind of funny. I guess it's been done so much now, but it's pretty funny.
Yeah.
And then the running, when he just keeps on running in the football game, that's pretty funny.
I mean, there's like some pretty. I mean, I'm sorry for starting a fight at your Black Panther party. It's like, what a line! Like, I mean, these guys really want to kill him, and they're in there fighting for their life, And he has no idea.
Right.
Your Black Panther party.
I forgot about that. Like
that's a hilarious scene.
Yeah.
And they show him they have a gun. It's a very serious, but they let him walk. They can kind of tell, I think, who they're dealing with. And he was, it was good justice. That guy was beating up on Jenny, and he was, trying to. But I mean the segregation scene. I mean, that's funny. I mean, like
when he picks up the book.
Yeah, he picks up the book, and the coaches are watching. They're going, like,
and then I forget, you can see a little Tom Hanks pubic hair.
Yeah, I mean, they got as close as they could. I can tell you, the light crew saw his junk.
No,
I
was like, man, have you ever
there was a dick
naked?
shot for sure.
I was like, finally, a little Tom Hanks pubic
hair.
Something only little kids get to see, according to MAGA. But that was my revelation that, like, if you're in the public spotlight at all, you have to accept that you're gonna get hated.
Yeah.
Because even Tom Hanks, people think is a pedophile now. So it's like if people think Tom Hanks is a pedophile,
nobody stands a chance.
Yeah, nobody stands a chance.
Yeah.
Just accept the hate.
Yeah.
But
so right.
But so he gets the notebook. That part's very nice, and then wait, what happens next? He goes to. All right, he goes to Vietnam.
Mm-hmm.
Bubba Gump. It's fun. He gets to. It's kind of like Dumb and Dumber. He finds someone on his exact wavelength.
He does.
What
a great acting job.
That guy.
Yeah.
Is he in other stuff? He looked kind of.
Yeah, he is in other stuff, and I've seen like a little highlight on him on TV. He's been in quite a few things, and I mean he had. What's really kind of makes it, if he was stuck around for too long, he'd have wore his welcome out. Mm-hmm. They did a good job of, his character was alive for the amount of time. When he died, I wanted more Bubba. Which is, I think, how, a character like that, a friend in a movie, I like when it's not oversaturated. Nobody lasted long. I mean, Jenny was the only common, and I guess Sally Fields is his, but like, a lot of different scene changes, life changes.
Everyone dies. Everyone kind of dies around him. He's kind of bad luck.
Yeah,
he's good luck for himself and bad luck for everybody else.
I mean, he has unbelievable luck in everybody around him. Even Lieutenant Dan gets his legs blown off.
That's why I don't ever talk to mentally handicapped people. Because I saw that movie and I'm like, it's bad luck. You'll get a piano ball on your head.
You've seen Forrest Gump, man.
Forrest Gump is like
stuff's contagious.
Retarded Final Destination.
I mean, it's wild. Everybody he becomes friends with is dead. I mean, his whole platoon.
No, it's wild. Yeah. But I was watching when there are parts where I'm like, I wonder what the Robert Zemeckis, the director, told him like how to act or what they decided on. Like the one thing I found interesting, like because obviously like the part where he's mimicking the guy fucking his mom. I wonder what they thought. Like it was like, are you? Because the kid must have asked like, am I trying to like? Mm-hmm. Do I know? Or
yeah.
And then the other question is he bored by Bubba Bubba's whole spiel?
Yeah.
Or is he just completely neutral? He doesn't seem
bored.
But he also doesn't seem interested.
No, but one thing about Forrest is if you are he's like that rings throughout the movie, he's insanely loyal.
He's insanely loyal, but them two together does begin with him talking it's really the first time someone's talked first time he hasn't been the one talking nonstop.
You're exactly right.
And he's talking about shrimp all day long.
Yeah.
But it cuts to Tom Hanks and he has like a look on his face and I'm like, what is the look? Like what is he feeling? Is he bored? Did he feel nothing?
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't seem like he'd enjoy going silent for that long.
No, I think he's like to me, I think fascinated, like intrigued. Never met a Bubba Gump. Didn't know anything about shrimp.
Yeah.
Had no idea about shrimp. This guy knew all these things about shrimp. Because if you told Forrest anything, Forrest believes you 100%. So that's what Bubba knows everything you need to know about shrimping. He's going to get a shrimp boat, and we're going to yada yada yada.
But he doesn't seem that interested either. I guess I don't know. I mean, like. Part of me's wondering if he's watching him going, man, is this how I come off?
Yeah. I think, I'm going to tell you something. I think you're giving Forrest too much credit.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
I don't think he's that. I do not think that it has a narrative thought. Like, I don't think he's watching Bubba and having that type of conversation.
But they're not, it's not like you're right, but it's not like they're like such, there's not like an emotional thing right away. It's really just him rambling about shrimp. And then the emotional thing is when they like put their heads back to back in the rain.
Yeah, in the rain, and they kind of trauma bond.
Yeah. I honestly think the thing about Vietnam that sounds the worst than like getting killed is how humid and gross you feel the whole time.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, I've seen a few war movies. Here's another thing that I wanted. It rained this whole movie. It felt like it rained in every scene of Forrest Gump, just about.
There's a lot of rain.
I mean, like 70% of the movie there's rain. But yeah, I mean, and also in the Vietnam War, one thing they gave a little nod to Vietnam, which, it is nice he goes, I don't know much about Vietnam, but I do think some of the America's best men to ever live served in this war.
Yeah.
And then he goes around, and it was kind of a profound statement where he just a kind of a nod to Vietnam, and then he went around and showed how dumb he was. That's Cleveland. He's from Detroit. Tex is from, I can't figure out where Tex is from.
It's a little bit of a, what do they call when like two jokes collide?
Yeah.
Like a hat on a hat?
A hat on a hat.
Because I forgot.
Yeah.
I remembered thinking he would just say he's from this, like, and it all equals out.
Yeah.
And then Tex. But so the Cleveland, Detroit, so he just got that wrong.
He just got that wrong.
But it kind of hurts. I feel like
I agree 100%.
Cleaner joke would have just been Cleveland's from Cleveland, this is from this, and Tex, I don't know where he's from.
I mean, it confused my wife. It kind of confused her a little bit, and I go, yeah, that didn't need to be.
I mean, it's one of the things I Kazammed or whatever. It's one of the things I did, similar to the seats all being taken.
Yeah.
I remembered it being a cleaner joke. Just
Yeah.
Cleveland's from Cleveland, Detroit's from Detroit, and Tex, I don't know where he's from. That's a clean joke.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that's Cleveland. He's from Detroit.
That fucks
That's
it all
a hat
up.
on a hat. I agree.
Yeah.
100. Well, you've stepped on your own. I mean, the punchline was first.
You stepped on your third punchline.
Yeah,
your rule
yeah.
of threes. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. That's funny. That stuck out to us too. She was like, "What?"
Because it's like you want the joke to be clear. Yeah.
Yeah. And then when you go Tex, I don't know where Tex. We know we get it. We go, "Oh yeah," because he's.
And I think that's also honestly one of the things that I would have forgiven the saccharine sentimentality of the movie if it was a little funnier, because I feel like the humor it tries to be funny, but it's not the most polished humor.
It's not.
You
can tell that the right. It's not a funny, and you can tell where they're trying to be funny, which is even worse.
Yeah,
where you go, that's a swing and a miss.
A lot of swing and a miss.
Yeah, and it's like super obvious. It's not one of those where they kind of tucked it in and tried to put it here. It's like, oh, they tried to make a joke there.
Well, the Imagine is the worst one.
It's the worst joke of the movie.
It's just like comedy should not just be remembering something.
No.
That's like the cheapest form of humor where you're like, ha, I remember that.
Exactly. No, you're exactly right. No, the movie definitely. I mean, there's some parts that are funny that really aren't supposed to be funny.
Yeah.
Even,
Well, yeah. I mean, my issue, I've always said, like, I think Tom Hanks is a great actor, but to me he's not really a legitimately, and not that this is the point of the movie, I guess. He's not a genuinely funny actor to me, just because he's so heartwarming.
Yeah,
like to me, when someone's funny, they have to have a little bit of the devil in them.
Yeah, yeah.
Jim Carrey, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like Tom Hanks, honestly, similar to Robin Williams in movies, like they're so heartwarming that it's hard to have that I don't know.
The twist isn't sharp enough.
Yeah.
I get exactly what you're saying. Like he's.
So he goes to Vietnam. He meets Gary Sinise. Yep. Everyone dies. Bubba dies. I want to go home. That's very sad.
Yep.
And then that's when he goes to D.C. and sees her in the water, which I do like that part a lot.
Yeah. That is a great scene. Visually, it's a great scene.
Yeah.
At the Lincoln Memorial there. I mean, and this movie is like such a movie that's part of my life. I went to the Lincoln Memorial, and, I've been there 3 or 4 times. Every time I stand up there, I think this is where Forrest Gump gave his speech.
Yeah. You associate more with Forrest Gump than America.
I'm like, this is where he was standing, and like he was about to say something wild, and they pulled the damn power on him.
Which is interesting, that part, because it's like, once again, a joke that's also not... Like, it's like there could have been a better joke there.
Yeah, there could have been a better joke, but to me it was also what I thought it was also for such a conservative type movie we were talking about, it was also showing silencing veterans. He was about to tell you the truth about Vietnam. He was going to go, now if there's one thing I know about Vietnam, it's this. And they go, no, you're not going to tell them.
Right. You're right. It does show this guy silencing veterans, but it's not necessarily sure that what he's going to say.
Yeah.
And that's where it glosses over. That's where he's apolitical and they don't know what to say about him.
Yeah.
Because I don't think they know what he would say. Like,
that's true. But it clearly, I think that they show it was something pro-peace, because the guy with the wild hair
Hoffman,
who's cut, he goes, dude, he's like, great work, man. That was so powerful. He was the only one that heard anything. The only one that heard.
So it was powerful.
So it was something.
But then it's like, what was the power? I mean, like for that to be powerful, there had to be some political thing behind it, and we know he's not political.
Yeah.
So is Abby Hoffman projecting onto him?
Yeah, I mean, possibly. But I think that there's something, that is saying something when he is about to, as a Medal of Honor recipient, is about to tell an audience.
Oh, for sure.
And they go, no.
But it's saying more about that guy than Forrest Gump.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But is that guy representing government? Is that guy representing the big machine?
Yeah. I mean, sure. He's sure he's like someone in the military wanting him to be quiet. But I still just don't think it's clear what he was saying. Like, I mean, you are right about that. And I guess I can go against the whole conservative thing. I mean, the truth is...
If we took some mushrooms and had this same type of angle, you'd see what I was talking about.
No, I see what you're saying.
Because it is a wild angle.
I see what you're saying.
I'm like, no, this is about a government conspiracy.
No, I see the shutting down part. I see that. But it's interesting that, once again, like, I don't think they fully know what they're saying about Tom Hanks.
Yeah.
So they have to... I personally think it would have been a better joke if he just said something, but it was like... He just like...
Dumb.
It was really hot. Like,
Yeah. I agree 100%.
It would have been interesting.
The food was spicy.
Yeah.
Why
am I doing this terrible voice? You got a good impression right here.
Unfortunately, yeah. I kind of got an ear for it.
Same state.
Yeah, same state. Greenbow, Alabama does not exist.
It doesn't? Yeah.
It does not exist. They made up, and it was shot in, I believe, I think it was South Carolina is where this was shot.
Yeah.
Because I can remember seeing it and thinking, I'm from North Alabama.
Yeah.
I'm from outside of Huntsville. And that's more like Appalachian kind of trails off. It's some South Alabama is going to have humongous trees, that moss hanging, but that's and so I think they shot it in South Carolina to get that look.
Huntsville Space Museum.
Yeah. Space and Rocket Center.
I remember I once did a show at Huntsville Stand Up Live, and I was like, it's cool that you have like NASA here. What are they doing? They're like, we got to put a Confederate flag on the moon.
It is one of the few places where...
It's a great place, though.
Yeah, it is. Huntsville's awesome, but you'll see somebody wearing camo that's working on going to Mars. It's a weird combination.
Yeah. I do like that part, though. There's something very magical about. There are a couple of moments in this that are like, it's life affirming.
Yeah.
And that moment is beautiful because it's such a political moment, and then it zeroes into something personal.
It does.
Where they see each other
and they meet out in the water.
It's very pretty.
Scene.
It's a very moving scene.
It is a great scene.
And so then after that, she's with the Black Panthers.
She's a gypsy.
The guy slaps her very quickly. By the way,
Yeah,
I feel like they talk for like 2 seconds. And I was like, what was she saying?
That's his angle. Not. Oh, she got. What did she say to?
But it was like
that?
she said like 5 lines. I feel like the only thing she could have said to justify that would be, "Can you slap me right now?" Like it's like 5 words. Well, like what was she saying that he?
I have no idea.
He's like, "Can I speak to you?" And she says 5 things. He
slapped. And she's like, "I didn't." He's like, "I know what you want to say."
It must have been about him, right?
Oh, clearly.
He was probably going like he's mentally and
No. Oh, that's exactly what.
Right.
Why'd you bring this retard? Whack.
Yeah. But very quick. But you got to be fair in his defense. It's a stressful time. Fucking lying, Lyndon. That's the first time someone's blamed Lyndon Johnson on why he slapped a woman.
Yeah. Well, and also, they probably went back and editing went, "Hey, this is going to be a 3-hour movie. We're just going to. I mean, that really, that type of stuff happens because that is such a quick. The slap is everything. They just get right to it.
But it's funny. Like the next scene, he's like, "I'm fucking Lyndon Johnson.
Whack.
If I ever hit my girlfriend, I'm just gonna be like fucking Trump."
Yeah.
So then he gets the shrimp company, takes the money.
Yeah.
Right. That's it. Right. He
goes.
Then
Then Apple.
Oh, he got the check. Oh, the check from the paddle thing.
Yeah.
That's the one time he compromised.
Oh, yeah, his mother, because at first he's like, "Well, I like using my paddle," and his mom's like, "Well, maybe we can, you can hold it for a while."
Yeah, maybe don't be retarded for 1 second. We can make some money in this life. Don't be a literal piece of shit.
Yeah, and he comes around on it. He gets the $25,000. Goes down and gets the boat.
Yeah.
So that's the order. He goes down, and then not too long after that, Lieutenant Dan shows up.
Yeah, right. By the way, I like how Bubba Gump's family is not moved by the fact that he wants to do it. They're just like, "What are you, fucking idiot?"
Everybody was. He goes down to the dock. He hands the old man money. He's like, "Are you an idiot?"
But like, I feel like if someone's son died and a friend came and like, "I was your friend of his friend in Vietnam. We dreamed about doing a trip. I'm gonna go do it."
Yeah.
The idea that they just be like, not moved.
Yeah, I mean, that is actually, they're probably going for some humor there. I would like to think.
For sure, yeah.
But, she's great. She's just staring at him.
Yeah.
Like, and even when he comes around and gives her all that money, she just passes out.
By the way, it is an interesting movie because it's like, I know it's like cartoony, but it's weird to blend the two. People like pass out in movies, but like that's an older black woman falling and hitting her head.
Oh,
She's dead.
She's down. And the reason that happened is because that's what happens when you come in touch with Forrest. He goes, "Here's $11 million," and then she died.
How to get away from him?
It's crazy.
He will kill you because you know what he does? He sucks all your good fortune in life, and it takes it for himself, and then you're left with nothing.
That's really what happened.
Yeah, she died, and that's what he sucked her fortune and got the shrimp. That's what happened.
That is what happened.
And then you have the big joke, which is kind of funny. Though so it is interesting, like how cartoony they want to make this movie at times.
Yeah,
obviously it's cartoony, but like when he sees Lieutenant Dan and he jumps out of the boat.
Oh yeah,
it's interesting that like I don't know, maybe I'm being like too nitpicky, but it's interesting that like Gary Sinise is a real character in this.
Yeah.
It's interesting that Gary Sinise, when he goes up to the dock, isn't like, "What the fuck are you doing with that boat?"
Yeah.
And then the boat comes back.
Comes back the other direction.
From what?
How? Yeah, that is.
That's like crazy. At that point, I'm like, that's like Naked Gun-ish. Like,
yeah. No. That is a good. Naked Gun-ish is right. And there's several of those moments, but yeah, the boat just turns around and goes the opposite direction. That boat would have crashed or been long gone. And also, I love how Tom Hanks made Forrest have these like kind of goofy waves.
Yeah.
How he would stand.
Oh. That's I still remember from when he gets his heart broken, he's standing on the porch.
Yeah.
That weird, like.
But that is such a.
I like
his
it,
character. That's just really.
No, it's great.
Yeah. But yeah, the jumping in the water and the boat still comes. It's ridiculous.
Gary Sinise yelling at the storm is great, and his character is great. I will say his character is great.
His character. Lieutenant Dan lives on to this day. A great character, and he knocked it out of the park.
Because it's a human character.
It is
I mean,
a human.
Forrest Gump is a superhero.
Yeah. No, this is real. He got his legs blown off. He'd rather be dead.
Yeah.
Comes back, trying to find out how he's going to fit into the world, disgruntled as hell. It's...
Hates God, angry at God.
Yeah. I mean, the stripper scene in New York, I thought was such a fun. I don't know what it mattered in the movie at all, but I thought it was
New Year's.
Yeah. But I just thought it was that's kind of a glimpse of like I mean real life. You know what I'm saying? He was getting some. It was down at Times Square. They were getting some hookers. They were both on the veteran bill. I don't know. It was an interesting.
Well, I also think this movie in its own way is a mishmash of other movies. It's not just history.
Yeah.
There's a lot of movie influences in this, like. With him in New York, that has a Midnight Cowboy thing, which they reference. With, have you seen Midnight Cowboy? Or
no, I have not.
So there's a scene where it's Dustin Hoffman and Jon Voight.
I know the famous scene where I'm walking here.
Yeah, and then that song they're playing is
Yeah.
And then in Vietnam, you have like clearly it feels like some of those Vietnam movies.
For sure.
And when she's naked playing the guitar, to me that's very much influenced by Nashville.
Yeah.
There's a scene in Nashville where the woman strips.
Same look.
And there's a bunch of things in this movie. I mean, some of this movie, I think there's a little being there, which is, I don't know if you've seen that, but it's about Peter Sellers. He's an autistic guy, and everyone projects onto him.
Gotcha.
So similar to the part where he's running at the end, and everyone thinks it's for a deeper meaning. You know? So there's a mishmash of movies, but the scene, and this is where I just think like it is beautiful when he like Gary Sinise jumps in the water afterwards, but like. And I know this is like a mainstream movie, but I still stand behind the fact you don't need the voiceover going, I think he made peace with God.
Yeah.
Let the audience fucking feel. And then it's open to interpretation.
Yeah.
You're not, you narrow something down, and also like it makes Tom Hanks just basically figure it out, which is like, if he can figure out everything, is he even mentally handicapped?
No, that's it. No, I love that. Let's watch him not figure something out.
Yeah, exactly.
Not have, the narrator, the God voice, walk him through it.
I actually think it goes against his mental capacity just to provide that explanation right
now. And honestly, I'm the opposite of you, and like I like narration in movies like a lot, and it might be because of just the lens that I watch them through. But having I've seen this movie countless times, and I've never thought about how it doesn't really need it.
No.
This movie is right in front of you.
It's right in front of you, and it's a way to just tell the audience exactly how deep the moment is.
Yeah.
But I guarantee you, if they would have just jumped him in the water, swimming like that, there would have been a more spiritual experience from the audience.
Yeah.
And it would have been even better, like you said, if Tom Hanks got it wrong.
Yeah,
if he was I don't know why he just started swimming right there.
Yeah.
That would have actually, in the contrast, that would have been a better moment.
The only part of the movie where I think narration makes sense for sure, and that I like it, thinking about this in the moment, is with Jenny in the beginning.
Yeah.
Because he's kind of explaining her situation. We didn't need to see all that, and I'd rather not.
Right.
And it was a good way to.
And he doesn't get it, which is great.
Which is great.
Yeah.
So because movies don't have to be narrated the whole time. You can be out with her, hanging out by the tree.
Yeah.
And then there's this scene where we kind of explain that Jenny's in a bad situation.
Right.
No,
for sure. You don't need to see his father. Beating, going back and forth between beating and fucking. You don't need to see the father do.
I was positive it was implied. You were like, no, I'm going to say every word of this.
But I don't think. By the way, I don't think the narration of Goodfellas is obviously amazing. I don't think the narration. It's not narration that's bad. It's when you deprive a scene of any subtext.
Yeah,
and you just say when you're. It's the old cliche: a picture's worth more than 1,000 words, or whatever the fuck. It's like that visual stands on its own. You don't need someone to say, "I think you made peace with God," right there.
Yeah.
But so then after that, all right. So he has the money, right?
Yeah.
Gives it to her. The woman dies. A black woman. Another dead person in his life.
There's
definitely cops like trying to link it all together. And then is that when she comes back and they fuck, right?
Yeah. This is where I think it really a breaking point for me.
Yeah.
She leaves again.
He wakes up and she's gone.
Yeah. He's devastated.
No note.
He just wakes up. You see him. They pan to the taxi. The taxi driver, which Greenbow, Alabama, would never have a taxi. In case y'all were curious, if you want to talk about some more Naked Gun stuff. And so they pan to the taxi, and then they pan to him laying in bed. And I'm furious at this point.
Yeah.
So he's devastated, and he does. And I like this. This all makes sense. And this isn't a superpower. He does what people do when their heart gets broken. Even I've done this in my life, and I'm a big boy. He runs.
Yeah.
He just goes running.
Yes.
And he acts like it's for no reason. It's because you have been devastated.
Yes. And a great part of the movie.
A great part of the movie.
But once again, the narration comes in.
It does.
At that one point, be like, Mama always said you got to run away from your
Yes,
parents.
we understood. That's all implied.
Yeah.
She slept with you and then left before you woke up and you went running. I mean.
By the way, Tom Hanks is so literal, Forrest Gump's character, that I kind of think Forrest Gump also chose the music for the movie.
Yeah.
Because the music is so literal.
Yeah.
They literally play like Against the Wind when he's running against the wind.
Now, hey, listen. The soundtrack for Forrest Gump's unbelievable. If you're just wanting like some patio, sunny day, 75 degree, you want the hits.
Yeah.
It is a killer soundtrack of a collection of hits.
It is,
I wish I have a memory of a goldfish, but I'm telling you, from when the war starts to the end of the movie, in the beginning it's slow. There's not much music. It's mainly the orchestra song
Which is
that plays.
beautiful.
It is very nice. My wife's favorite song out of it. But there are some killer songs in this, and they are very literal. I mean,
it's so literal.
During the Vietnam scene, I mean, it's the Creedence Fortunate Sons.
Vietnam.
Yeah.
There's a couple. Running on empty.
Yeah.
I think when she's like a hippie, it's like California Dreaming, and running on empty is ridiculous.
Yeah.
The part where he's running, I would not have been surprised if you just heard like someone singing "Retard running down the highway."
I mean, it was that literal, but
it is so literal. I mean, the music, I guess it's good. I mean, it's the same as just a Golden Oldies soundtrack.
I love that, but they're all on the same track.
Yeah.
I mean, I wish I could remember.
Well, that was back when you couldn't. That was okay.
I guess you're right.
That was when you didn't have those. So the Forrest Gump soundtrack was essentially everyone's best of the 60s.
That's such
70s.
a great point. Yeah. I'm thinking from back then.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of speaking from not even. I've just always known and been told that the Forrest Gump soundtrack is great.
I mean, it's great. It's Americana, but it is like when you think of to me, like when a Scorsese movie, he's like discovering some songs you might not know.
Yeah. Not great like that.
Not great like that. And with Scorsese, it's never like literal, which is I don't think he's ever had the lyrics ever connect at all to what's happening.
No, but he knows how to tie the scene with the emotion of the song.
And he knows how to contrast them. The music is often in contrast to create a more effect. The music in this is never in contrast. It's never ironic. It's always just straight on. I'm telling you, Forrest Gump chose the music for this movie.
All right, and here's
in Running Against the Wind. We should have Running Against the Wind.
Yeah, I mean it is Running on Empty.
Running on Empty. Mentally handicapped guy running on empty. But I do like that running scene.
Okay, but we cannot get past the running scene without talking about some of my favorite parts of the movie.
Oh, yeah.
Is when the inventions, they act like the inventions happen.
Yeah.
He's running with that guy. My favorite one, he goes, "Whoa, man, you just stepped in a huge pile of shit." and he goes, "It happens." He goes, "What? Shit?" And then he stops. And then, like the bumper sticker, shit happens.
Right. But by the way, once again, I should Kazam that one too.
Yeah.
I thought Tom Hanks says shit happens. He doesn't even say it.
No. I think I just that's how he goes.
He just says it happens.
It happens.
And the guy's like, shit?
Yeah.
I don't even like I feel like he did it all on his own.
Yeah, that one is great. I should say I love that one. The other one's a little ridiculous to me, where he puts the thing on his face and it comes out as a smiley face. Like it's just too far. It's like such because the smiley face is just not
the smile has has perfect
I know
lines.
what a dumb thing to critique, but like the shit happens like I
makes more
love when
sense,
people come up with like made up like how that would
but
like the smiley face, like, yeah, I mean, it's just, that's a little much.
The best one, I think, is the Elvis one, because you're cleverly incorporating the, that's the best one.
That is, and then they watch him on the TV, and he's doing the same leg movements. Is that what you're talking about?
That's a clever one.
Yeah.
But, all right, so he runs. I mean, I do like the running, because there is, like, a real sorrow to this movie.
Yeah.
I like the running. And then after the running, I mean, his mom dies.
Yeah.
And that's a weird scene, because she's like, looks pretty okay, and she's like, I'm going to really miss you. Like, she's talking like and then she dies like in an hour.
Yeah, immediately. And she's very direct. Like, there's one scene, as a mama's boy myself, I mean, it was a pretty, where it was just one line, and he's
I just love how you're like, Forrest Gump, I really related to that whole life.
Not the whole movie. People in the comments are going to fry me. Like, this guy from Alabama related with Forrest.
Which character do you relate to the most in movies? I say Forrest Gump and maybe
then Bubba
Rain
second.
Man. Yeah.
No, where she's like, she just says it very direct. She goes, "I'm dying, Forrest," and just says it.
Yeah.
Just straight up. That was and he's like, "Why?" Just very Forrest.
Yeah,
he doesn't understand. And she just explains to him. I can't remember exactly what she says, but kind of tries to explain that we all
die. It's part of life. And she's very okay with it. Because, I mean, the truth is, what makes a human being is imperfections.
Yeah.
And she's not. She's a saint.
Yeah. That's
Even
right.
then, she's okay. So my issue, it keeps me from being moved when I see saints.
Yeah.
Because it's not real.
Yeah.
But she dies, and then
well, then you must have been a little moved by Jenny, because she's 37 with a 7-year-old, died of HIV.
It's way more moving. I mean, it is. I mean, obviously it's more moving. She's younger. I mean, the thing that is moving is when she's dying and she says, "I wish I could have been there with you."
Yeah.
And then he says, "You were." The "you were" part, I feel like people probably get moved by. I would get moved a little more by the "I wish I could have been there with you."
Yeah.
Because she's realizing she's just wasted her life.
Yeah. I got moved by, were you scared in Vietnam?
Yeah.
Because, like, I've been scared in my life before in certain situations, and I've asked other people kind of questions like that, like, help me through this fear.
Yeah.
And that line, were you scared? Because it had nothing to do with Vietnam.
Right.
Like, it had to do with, like, when you were scared to death, how did you feel?
Right. That's a great point.
Yeah.
And I will say, as stupid as I find so much of this movie,
Yeah, it is.
I do find it legitimately moving when he starts talking about, like, the different, like, sunsets and skies.
Yeah.
That scene sticks with me more than any other scene.
Yeah.
Like, him just going back through his life
Yeah.
and remembering these beautiful moments, that it does hit you.
It does. You're so right. That's probably the most poetic thing he says. He says the lake, it looked like a reflection, talking about the mountain.
Yeah.
It was,
Because it's also one of the first times where there's not this homespun stupid phrase to explain shit.
Yeah.
It's just pure detail.
It is pure details. Yeah.
And that part is beautiful. I really find that part moving. Him just, like, talking about the beautiful moments in life, because we all have those moments.
For sure.
It happens, like, most of life is just a constant state of confusion.
Yeah.
But every once in a while you have, like, a little meditative moment. It's quiet.
Absolutely.
And the sky looks, beautiful and whatever. And the idea of looking back on your life and remembering those moments is really gorgeous.
I could not agree more.
That part's very moving.
Yeah. And for such a silly movie with so many things that don't make sense, it's a pretty powerful little nugget there.
For sure.
At the end. I mean, one of the things for me is that I love about Forrest Gump is it's brainless watching. Yeah. Like, it is entertaining, and there's all these funny ins and outs, and there's no scenes are alike, and we're in different parts of the world, different time. The timeline is unbelievable. But well, there
are things that are moving that goes beyond analysis, goes beyond intelligence, you know what I mean? Like, or just, like, not intelligence, but there are things like, I've accepted, because I think Shawshank is a much smarter movie.
Yeah.
But I also think Shawshank has some of the same equal problems and love the same way.
Yeah.
Which is that they both feature saints.
Yeah,
Tim Robbins is a saint.
Yeah.
And they both feature narration that tells you
how to feel.
Yeah, my friend calls it stupid people's masterpieces, because it's just not stupid, but it's just people who aren't as movie savvy. So, like, but they're both moving in a way that goes beyond their flaws. I think Shawshank more so, because the thing about Shawshank is by the end, you really do feel like you've been in prison that whole time.
Yeah.
And you do feel of life as a prison, But both movies hit you on a level beyond. It's almost like music. It hits you on something that goes beyond the this like good writing or you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, to hear you say that about my favorite movie makes me feel, pretty good.
Then I also called it a stupid person's
You
masterpiece.
did. But I mean, I was a little nervous
friend.
coming in here. I mean, sending this guy your favorite movie, I felt like I was sending a black guy my favorite rap song. You know what I mean? There was some pressure. I was like, I hope he doesn't judge me.
Well, no, I don't judge. I don't judge anyone, and I get it. I mean, I was moved by it. I mean, like, there are moments that are moving, but I mean, like, I'm also 41, so I could be crying at a Hallmark commercial.
Same thing.
That doesn't make the Hallmark commercial Citizen fucking Kane.
Yeah. That's a good point.
But I have accepted, because I am an analytical, annoyingly analytical person at times.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I have accepted there are moments that go beyond that.
Yeah.
And there are movies that are kind of like music, where it's like, the lyrics might not be great, but you're still moved by it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think that's a great category to put this in.
I'd say it's very similar to. I mean, granted, I actually think I love Les Mis. I love Les Mis.
Mm-hmm.
But Les Mis is similar to these in that it's all saints and it's good versus evil.
Yeah.
And the lyrics are just whatever. There's not like much psychology.
No.
But it hits you on this deeper level.
Yeah. I know what you
this
mean.
Purity. You know
Yeah,
what I
there
mean?
is. Yeah.
And so that scene where he's looking at the sky at the end is a very beautiful scene. And then you get to the speech on at the grave, which is like, I mean, I think the sky part is better. That speech is kind of like, basically, it's so funny. He's like mentally handicapped, but he's basically just saying what every white girl is like. I'm not religious, but I'm spiritual.
Yeah, he is. He is. I mean, for me, the part at the grave where he puts the note down that has mom written on it.
That's so moving.
That's
the moving part.
Yeah, and he's like, he told me not to read it, and he doesn't read it. And I was thinking, like, as a dad, like, that's like such a,
he was the only one who'd probably follow that. Right.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was like, I mean, that scene, that part was pretty.
But most fathers would probably read it.
I would think so, but I don't think I would. And I think because of this movie, because I find so much respect in that kid's note, in his son's note, that he didn't read it. Even though his son, sometimes it doesn't matter. I don't always, just because his son doesn't know or not, doesn't matter. I think it's just one of those things where,
it's very sad.
It is.
That shot is very sad.
That is the toughest. And that little kid has grown up to be a wild, what?
Hallie Joel Osment.
Yeah.
Kid from Sixth Sense.
Yeah, man. What an actor.
I will say, like, the speech she gives, which is like, I guess the big final speech, it's just whatever. The whole, like, that part's stupid. The whole, like, I don't know if Lieutenant Dan's right and we're just floating all accidental, like, or everyone has their own destiny. But maybe it's a little of both. Yeah. When he said that, I was just kind of like, well, if you're saying it's one or the other, one of them's destiny, then you're kind of saying it's destiny.
Yeah, 100%.
If you're like, I don't know if there's a God and religious order or it's all chaos, but maybe it's both. Yeah. Well, then that kind of
and maybe that's
kind of kicks out the chaos.
Forrest
part.
is not the sharpest.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah.
So it kind of plays right into whether the movie did that on purpose or an accident. That sounds like something he would say. And
but I think I think the movie's saying he's figured out the meaning of existence. Like I think the movie's saying, he has the kind of dumbness where he actually sees what life is.
Yes, now I agree with that. Not 100%.
But the problem with that is now the movie's telling you what existence is about.
Yeah, that's right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That gets a little cocky.
That does get a little arrogant.
It's like at the end of American Beauty, his voiceover is like, he goes to heaven, he's like, I can't tell you what it's all about. But when you die, you'll know what I'm talking about. And I'm like, but a living guy wrote this movie.
Yeah, that's insane.
But then you have the final scene. You have the bus driver who's aged about 5 years and 3 decades.
That's right. She doesn't look any different. Dorothy Harris looks identical. Yeah.
It's like insane.
Yeah, man, it was. I'd noticed that immediately. She might look younger.
By the way, I've heard people, and I thought this was a good point, people have been like, isn't it so sexist, the fact that Sally Field is his mom when they're like similar to the same age, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, that's like a good point, I guess. But like, to be fair, she is his age in the beginning.
Yeah, yeah.
Put old age makeup on her.
Yeah. Like a movie.
Like, what are they supposed to do? Have her old in the beginning?
Doesn't make any sense. Yeah.
She is his age.
Yeah.
I think like Amy Schumer brought that up in a sketch, and I did think it was really funny when they brought that up. But it's like, but it doesn't make sense.
It's one of those thoughts where, because I have them a lot, where in the moment, immediately it sounds brilliant. Then when you think about it, you go, it doesn't make sense.
Right. It's like she would be his age.
She would be his.
It'd be different if they looked the same.
It would be.
Or if they didn't put old age makeup on her.
What? I mean, that would be crazy.
Yeah. But she looks the same. And then you have the feather.
Yep, which started the movie.
Which is just kind of, once again, pretentious.
Yeah.
There is pretentiousness in this movie.
Yeah, and I think that's coming from, the writers and yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this movie is pretentious. It's dumb. It doesn't make sense, but it still gets to you at times.
Yeah. I mean, it's an all-time classic. 75% on Rotten Tomatoes.
That's it? Oh, wow.
Yeah,
so it really did get the bad reviews.
It did, yeah. I mean, I thought, clearly box office was through the roof.
Well, but also not just box office. I mean, people. Like, those are critics.
Oh, yeah.
I would say if you polled people and asked them their favorite movie, I mean, I do think some classics like Godfather might show up, but I truly think, outside of the older movies, I truly think people's favorite movies, for the most part, are Shawshank Redemption and maybe Forrest Gump. I think Shawshank Redemption maybe a little more.
I think that people are... Forrest Gump is like a dumber pick.
A little dumb.
Yeah, and I'm not scared of that.
No.
But yeah, so it's a little bit of a dumber pick. I love Shawshank as well. But
they're both... I would say they're both pretty... I mean, yeah. I guess Shawshank Deals was more like,
so. There's a little bit more
horror,
meat,
yeah.
In my opinion, but like acting wise and such, I mean, it's still. I mean, Forrest Gump is. Tom Hanks is. I mean, to me, it's one of the best performances.
No, yeah, he's great. Yeah.
I mean, he, like I said, he's still Forrest till this day.
Yeah.
I didn't know this wasn't a real movie until this podcast.
It did seem like you were like really like. You did not.
No, you want to talk about? Yeah.
Let me see if I wrote down. I just want to see if I missed anything. I just put he kind of does go full retard. I mean, he doesn't, but it feels like it now.
Yeah. I mean, 15 Dr. Peppers is pretty retarded. You know what I mean? That's like something you don't do that. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Comes early when he touches her tits. I just forgot about that. They run. I guess that's all I wrote. Oh yeah. Do you have any like final remarks about the movie?
No. I feel like that we covered everything. Not many movies take you through so many time periods.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, we went through several decades.
Yeah, we did. And this is the part where I say what the movie says about you, so I got to be careful here. Well, I mean, you're from Alabama.
Yeah.
You sound like you got some mother's love.
Yeah.
But you seem like a very nice, heartwarming, sentimental guy, like the movie,
Yeah.
And you're fucking retarded. No, I'm joking.
And you're retarded and very lucky for some reason. You ought to see his tour dates. He's a lucky guy.
Yeah. Open it for Nate. That's your shrimp.
That's my shrimp boat. That's hilarious.
Do you and I know you're very different comedians, but you do have very similar accents. Are you the same?
Yeah, we grew up 90 miles from each other.
90 miles?
Yeah.
So everyone sounds like that in that area?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people do. It's unfortunate because when we're talking normal, me and Nate, we actually do sound pretty similar tone-wise. But on stage...
Is that why you have to be loud to differentiate?
No, unfortunately, I've been that way my whole life. But on stage, it can, people all the time are like, this guy's just like Nate. And it's mind-blowing because Nate's never raised his voice.
I know. I
never ranted.
I hesitate to say that because no comedian likes to be like, you sound like someone else. But I know your comedy is so different.
Yeah, but I get it all the time.
I just purely mean cadence.
Yeah, 100%.
Which, it's such a bullshit when someone's like, not that people say this about you, but I've seen this before, like where someone's like, oh, you sound exactly like you stole their act. It's like, no, they just...
Yeah.
Similar voice.
That's it. Yeah. I mean, if Nate knew how late that I found him, it might hurt his feelings. But I mean, we are good friends, and I do love his comedy, but it definitely
he's the best.
was not an influence at all. In my mind, as comedians, I mean, like my biggest influences are Ron White and Bill Burr.
Right.
And so I think I'm like, but you can't help me and Nate. We just sounded like we put him on Waze Radio when I was on vacation with my wife just to hear him.
Yeah.
And it was a little trippy. It sounded like me.
Will you be insulted if in the audio of the podcast I say it's Nate Bargatze?
No.
My guest?
No, I get weight Bargatze. I get fat Bargatze. I get Nate Bargatze stung by bees. It's brutal in the comments, man.
Or early Nate Bargatze?
Yeah. Nate Bargatze if he didn't quit drinking.
Yeah. No, but you're a great comic, and you're
Thanks,
really
man.
more in my category. There's not many. I mean, there's some of us, but there's not. I feel like me, you, Nathan McIntosh, we're the big loud people.
You're correct. Ranty, loud, yelling.
You probably
up and down.
Have you had people say you're too loud? People said that to me, and it fucking drives me crazy.
Yeah. I mean, you talking about like on stage or in general?
No, on stage.
Yeah. I mean, I've changed my pace and I've learned some lessons. I used to yell and rant relentlessly with almost no dips.
Me too.
And when people would bring up that it was a little bit much, I would go, yeah, I'd be jealous too, buddy, And I learned over time, mainly from my dry bar from 2021. I hated it so much because I just yelled the whole time.
There's no
and that's
respite,
when
pauses,
peaks and valleys.
Yeah, I learned that too.
Yeah,
it was always annoying when people said I was too loud, but you still take it and learn. I learned you kind of put in the quiet moments, and then you start thinking of them as like breaks.
Yeah. No. You're exactly. Once you start doing hours on the road all the time, but I can already tell that me and you are the same, and like this is who I am.
Yeah.
I'm an excitable person. I can be quiet, but I'm excitable. So, and it happens on stage. It starts off as something here, and then I get worked up, and I mean, I've heard you across the hall. I'm sure you've heard me.
That is the thing. We are loud people.
Just in general.
We're not like, there's some people where it is an act. Like Gilbert Gottfried, I think, might be an act.
Yeah, that's right.
He's very quiet.
Yeah.
Well, was quiet before he died. I guess he's really quiet now.
Yeah, but the quietest he's ever been.
Yeah, but we're fucking loud.
No, all the time. I don't think about, and I know you're like, on stage, I don't think, well, we're going to yell here. I'm just worked up.
Getting worked up.
I'm just excited.
Yeah. No, that's how I feel. But you're a great comic. You got any plugs?
I'm gonna be. I'll be on the road in June with. I'm out with Nate. I'll be in Hartford, Connecticut, last weekend of June.
Okay.
And then in July I go on a big run. So yeah.
Funny Bone.
Yeah, Funny Bone. But DerrickStroupComedy.com. Derrick Yells is my Instagram.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can find me on those. So thank you so much and this guy's being so humble. I'm sure y'all already know, but you're funny as hell too, man.
Thanks, man.
I really enjoy your stuff.
Thanks, man. That means a lot. Yeah. Look at us sucking each other's dicks. Thanks for watching, and let's see, this will come out tomorrow. So hey, I got dates coming up, but also if you're in New York, I'm screening the short film I made June 27th at Anthology Film Archives. There's the tickets are free. There's like 10 or 15 left. So if you want to come, I guess don't wait. And you can get them at the link in my Instagram, Raanan Comedy, Raanan Comedy. And thanks again for watching. And join the Patreon. If you haven't, we got some great stuff on there. Patreon.com, your favorite movie sucks. Thanks again so much for being part of this.
Thank you, buddy. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Cut.
Raanan is fat and he's a Jew. He'll tell you something that you already knew. Your favorite movie sucks. Your favorite movie sucks. American Beauty or Forrest Gump. Your favorite movie sucks.